Good afternoon, I'm Malcolm Jordan and this is your Midday News Fix for Tuesday the 24th of October. Christchurch's Muslim community hope the coronial inquest into the 2019 March 15 terror attacks will provide clarity to many of the victims' families. The inquest before coroner Bridget Windley begins today and is set to last 6 weeks. She'll determine the cause and circumstances of the 51 deaths. Al Noor Mosque Imam Gamal Foda says for many families this will mark the conclusion of the case.
Many people have different questions and we need the answer from the court to actually answer unanswered questions.
Windley will delve into 9 specific issues, including the triage and medical response, the steps taken to apprehend the offender, and whether a mosque emergency exit door failed to function. Hamas says it's released 2 more hostages after Qatari and Egyptian mediation. Sources tell CNN they are elderly women who are Israeli citizens. They've been released to the Red Cross at the Rafah crossing in Egypt. It follows the release of 2 American hostages last week. Israel says Hamas is holding 222 hostages. CNN's Jeremy Diamond says Hamas says it's released the hostages for humanitarian and health reasons. He says Hamas is wanting to delay potential Israeli ground invasion of Gaza.
They have dangled the possibility repeatedly now of releasing hostages in exchange for humanitarian relief for Gaza and also for some kind of Israeli ceasefire.
Meanwhile, the conflict in Israel and Gaza is causing economic uncertainty. In New Zealand, inflation remains high at 5.6%, despite falling in recent figures. The official cash rate is still up at 5.5%. Independent economist Cameron Bagri says markets are starting to factor in global politics.
Because when uncertainty is high, you want what's called a little bit more compensation for taking risk.
Bagri says this can be seen in longer-term interest rates, which have nudged up. Police are investigating the unexplained death of an infant. Police say a child died soon after being taken to Hutt Hospital on Sunday afternoon. Tropical cyclone Lola has strengthened to a Category 5 and is expected to make landfall in Vanuatu. 5 is the strongest level and Lola is unusual in forming outside the usual November to April season. Gusts are forecast to reach up to 285 kilometres an hour and be hazardous. But Met Service forecaster John Law says the cyclone's likely to weaken as it moves south towards New Zealand. Our senior mongrel mob members warning police powers intended to tackle gang violence have dangers. Warrants have been issued in Tairāwhiti, Opotiki and Whakatane because of rising tensions between the mob and Black Power. They let officers search vehicles and suspected gang properties and seize weapons. Harry Tam says he thinks police tend to overuse the law as a novelty power.
The police do need tools, but I think you need a more balanced approach. You might sort out the confrontation at that point in time, but in reality there's very little pro-social interventions going into those communities.
To sport, All Blacks defence coach Scott McLeod believes the side's heaviest test loss 2 months ago against the Springboks will be absent from World Cup final preparations on Sunday morning in Paris because they've already applied lessons from that game. And Tottenham's return to the top of English football's Premier League after a 2-0 home win over Fulham. I'm Malcolm Jordan, that's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at 5 p.m. from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.